Alright, hello there chat. So, I'm back with another informal type of video again. Today, we're gonna be talking about Rosaria build. And I'm talking about specifically about Cryo Rosaria build. Right, so let's get into it. So, first thing you need to know, Rosaria level 90, and then here are the stats. So, crit rate 53.9, crit damage 196.9, energy recharge 122, and then cryo damage bonus of 61.6%. Okay, so those are the stats. Here is the weapon that I have right now for Rosaria. So, if I'm in rank 2 of Primordial Jade Wing Spear, because I want the crit rate. Then, it has a base attack of 674. 5-star weapon tends to have really high base attack stat. And 3.9% increase attack for 6 seconds whenever she hits. And it can stack for 7 stacks. So, if you get a full stack, you get your damage increased by 15%. It's kinda dark or kinda hard to see because of the background. But yeah, 15% right there. So yeah, this is the weapon. So, artifact, I have Blizzard Strayer. Because I'm running a cryo damage set or cryo damage bonus build. So, cryo damage bonus plus 15%. And then, on the 4-piece though, if she's hitting an enemy who is already affected by cryo, their critical rate will be increased by 20%. But if the opponent is also frozen, that would be another additional 20%. So basically, if you freeze the enemy, 40%. Most of the time, this works on mobs though, like small enemies and enemies and things. But on bosses though, no. But you still get at least a 20% crit rate base if the boss is affected by cryo. So, to show you guys the stat though, here's the flower. So, energy recharge 4.5, attack 11.1%, cryo damage 18.7, crit rate 7.4. Here is the Plume of Death. Energy recharge 4.5, crit damage 26.4, attack is 9.9%, crit rate plus 2.7%. And then for the Sons of Eon, attack 46.6, crit damage 22.2%, elemental mastery plus 47. HP and defense are irrelevant. You could probably change this into something else, but I put Sans because I'm also using a weapon which benefits a lot from attack. So I just kept attack. You could probably go for elemental mastery or energy recharge, depending on what you are going for. So for the Goblet of Eonotum, cryo damage bonus 46.6, crit damage 19.4, crit rate 6.2%, attack plus 27. Defense irrelevant. You don't need it. And Circlet of Logos, crit damage 62.2%, max level 20, elemental mastery, attack plus 33, crit rate plus 10.5, energy recharge plus 13.0%. So, this is the artifact set. So, Blizzard Strayer, full set, 4-piece. So, yeah. Plus 20 off. So, for the Constellation though, I already have a C for Rosaria. For C1 though, basically, whenever she scores a critical hit, her attack speed is increased by 10% and her normal attack damage increased by 10%. So, you could just do a normal attack with her without doing any charge attacks. So, for the C2 though, basically, her elemental burst, the lance that she plants onto the ground, its duration is increased by 4 seconds. So, C3, basically, just increases the levels of the Ravaging Confession by 3, which is basically the elemental skill. And then Ravaging Confession's crit rate hits. It regenerates 5 energy for Rosaria and can only be triggered once each time the Ravaging Confession is cast. Basically, Ravaging Confession is the elemental skill, the one where she blinks into the enemy, and if the enemy is small, she blinks behind the enemy. So yeah. So though this is for the Constellation. So for the talents though, max normal attack, and then Ravaging Confession, which is the elemental skill. So the elemental skill and the elemental burst, they both deal cryo damage, except for the normal attack. Okay. So the rating is skill damage is 124% plus 289. It has a cooldown of 6 seconds, which is really good, low cooldown. And then for the elemental burst though, this is the elemental burst where she hits the enemy 2 times with a cryo damage before planting the lance onto the ground. So it's like the lance deals a damage over time as long as well, not exactly damage over time, but for at regular intervals, it will keep dealing cryo damage to enemies that are in its radius. So yeah, really good. So the first two instances of damage, 187 plus 274, and then the ice lance, actually the OT, yeah, so 238%, which is really, really good. It's really, really strong though. Like all of her elemental skill and elemental burst deals a lot of damage. Plus, its duration is increased by its lasts for 8 seconds too, with a low cooldown of 15 seconds for elemental burst, which is not really bad. And energy cost is 62. So it does not really take a lot before you can use Rosaria's elemental burst immediately. And then for this one though, for the talent though, whenever Rosaria strikes an opponent from behind using Ravaging Confession, again, Ravaging Confession, she can only strike an opponent from behind if the enemy is small. So Rosaria's crit rate will be increased by 12% for 5 seconds. So basically, you always have consider yourself having always a plus 12% critical rate for Rosaria, especially when you're fighting small enemies. For this one though, the Shadow Samaritan, so basically if you cast her elemental burst, she will buff the entire team by giving 15% of her critical rate. So for example, if your Rosaria has 100% crit rate, basically you give 15% critical rate buff to everybody. But if you have like 50% crit rate for your Rosaria though, get the 15% of it and you will give that 15% crit rate buff to all of your teammates or party members. So yeah, crit rate bonus gained this way cannot exceed 15%. So basically you just need 100% crit rate on Rosaria though. Anything other than that, does not really matter. So yeah. Anyway, Nightwalk is just you run faster during nighttime. It does not take effect in domain though, but it's good for exploration though, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, but before I go talk more about before I go into battle against Child with Rosaria though, I have to share a little bit of requirements in need for your Rosaria. So first of all, you can get a Hydro, right? You can get another Hydro character just to, just for when you're doing exploration or domain. If you want to freeze the enemy, at least get a Hydro. Or if you don't need a Hydro, maybe you could have someone else. But however, I do really need to emphasize the need for Shenhe. If you have Shenhe, put her in the same party with Rosaria. If you have Chongyun too, go ahead. Go have a party with 3 Cryo elemental characters in your team. Like, it will not really hurt you that much unless you're fighting a Cryo character. Okay? So, why Shenhe? So, first of all, I'm not gonna talk about the weapons and artifacts yet. That will be for another video. So, what are the reasons why you want Shenhe with Rosaria though? Because Shenhe is a character that buffs Cryo characters. She's really good in buffing Cryo elemental characters too. So, why Shenhe though? Her Spring Spirit Summoning though, if you cast it though, basically, whether it is press or hold, she gives an icicle buff to all of the characters of Cryo, right? So, every time another character or a character that is buffed by Shenhe deals either a normal charge, plunging, elemental skills, or elemental burst, the damage dealt is increased based on Shenhe's current attack. And it is based on 82.2% of Shenhe's attack. So the higher the attack of your Shenhe, the higher the damage of Cry damage that is dealt by your Rosaria. Okay? Take note of that. And then you have Elemental Burst too. The Elemental Burst of Shenhe though is it deals Cry damage, right? And it creates a radius though that all of the enemies that are in there, they got their Cryo resistance decreased by 15%, which is really helpful in the long run. Plus it deals a regular interval Cryo damage from time to time. The first instance of Shenhe's Elemental Burst is a bit strong. DOT not so much, but at least you get another instance of damage though. So yeah, anything that is helpful. And then here's the thing, if you cast the Elemental Burst of Shenhe and you put Rosaria inside of it, or as long as you are fighting an enemy inside of the Divine Maiden's Deliverance of Shenhe, Rosaria's gain 15% Cryo damage bonus. That's why you want Shenhe in your party with Rosaria. This also applies to other characters too, if you have others, right? So Spirit Communion Seal, basically if Shenhe uses her elemental skill Spring Spirit Summoning, I'm sorry, if you press the elemental skill, all of the elemental skill and elemental burst damage by your party members will be increased by 15%, regardless if that character is cryo or not. Same goes for the hold though. For the hold though of elemental skill, the normal charge and plunging attack damage is increased by 15% for 15 seconds, regardless of whatever element your character is. So really, really good. So Shenhe is a solid cryo character buffer. Now, why Chongyun, right? Another thing why I also recommend Chongyun, because Chongyun has a elemental skill that can infuse the normal attack or the charge attack of your characters whenever you are fighting inside of the Spirit Blade Chonghwa's Layered Frost. So for a span of 10 seconds though, if you let Rosaria stand in there and fight the enemy there, all of her normal attacks and charge attacks will be cryo elemental instead of the normal physical damage. So really, really good, right? And then, well, Chongyun hits really hard too when it comes to burst. And don't get me wrong, that skill damage 242%, it hits for 3 times, so which is really, really good, right? So it's like 700% damage immediately to the enemy. Plus it has a low cooldown to 12 seconds. Plus energy cost 40, hell yeah, right? So here's the thing. Here's another thing. So anybody that is sword, claymore, polearm wielding characters within the field created by Spirit Blade, their normal attack speed will increase by 8%. So if you do that also with Rosaria, basically she gets a plus 18% normal attack speed. So a great buff for Rosaria too. And then this one though, no, I don't have to explain this one. So yeah, basically that's why you need Shenhe. I really recommend having Shenhe in your party with Rosaria, and Chongyun too. If you don't have Shenhe, at least maybe have Chongyun, you know. Those buffs really help out Rosaria that much. So yeah, anyway, enough about me yapping. How about we fight Child, huh? So yeah, first of all, what I wanna do is wanna put that, and then cast Shenhe's elemental skill, and then put thank you, and then now you go ham. See? Don't get me wrong. Plus, the great thing about it is why you have at least 2 characters in your party though. You want to have the bonus. I forgot to mention that, but I will explain it after this. So this, and then cast the elemental burst if you have it, and then switch back to Rosaria. Right? Rosaria is really strong though. Just have to build her right. I did build Rosaria before with the physical, but I feel like I prefer the cryo damage more now. Oh yeah, I also forgot another thing. If your Chongyun has Constellation though, basically all of the elemental skill and burst that is cast inside of Chongyun's elemental skill, the cooldown of the character's elemental skill and burst, they will be reduced, which is really, really good. You think I'm gonna get that Trans Blossom? No, really. So yeah, anyway. That is for the Cryo Rosaria build. Hope you have enjoyed it. So yeah, hope the new players or other players alike they may find this video helpful. So yeah, I know this is a bit longer than the Yanfei build, but there are requirements for you guys to make, you know, at least a very good Rosaria if you want to. Maybe I could make another build for her, which is a physical build, but that would be another video for another time. But yeah, I want to share first at least the ones that I have, the ones that are already set up, the ones that I'm not going to be changing anymore, you know? So yeah, anyway guys, hope you have enjoyed, and yeah, hope you will all have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Well, if you want more of this, I consider you guys subscribing and liking. So yeah, it will help me in the long run. Anyway, bye-bye chat, bye-bye.